Last September, the small city of Springfield, Ohio became a flashpoint in the national conversation around immigration, when then vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance amplified a lie that Haitian immigrants there were abducting and eating pets, which was then repeated by President Trump during the presidential debate. Months later, Springfield is still reckoning with its turn in the spotlight. Judy Woodruff visits the city as part of her ongoing series, America at a Crossroads.
Hi, my name is Lukens Merzis.
At his local public radio station, WYSO, Lukens Merzis is getting the chance to tell his own story as a Haitian resident of Springfield, Ohio, after months of his community being in the national spotlight.
When you share your stories, you share your experiences, you can make a difference. People can listen and understand what you've been through. And every single time I had a conversation with Mali, she said, "Dad, when you come to pick me up."
His contribution to the series, Haitians in the Heartland, is a personal one, about one of his two daughters, who was then living in Haiti, reuniting with his family in Springfield. Haiti is currently in the grips of a worsening humanitarian crisis.
It was great to see my daughter come to the United States.
That was pretty special.
It's just about like hope, love, and faith.
The ABC News presidential debate.
It's a story in stark contrast to how his community was portrayed during the last 2 months of the presidential election.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats.
When President Trump repeated false rumors on the debate stage to an audience of nearly 70 million people.
How did you even think about how to respond to that?
Ignorance and, hate doesn't care about the truth. They don't care about what you're doing great because they find a way to talk down about you.
People's talked about their dogs being stolen and eaten.
Despite no evidence to back up the allegations, the rumors took on a life of their own on social media.
For me, it was basically being in the middle of a hurricane that was swirling.
Rob Rue is Springfield's mayor.
For, I would say, a good 2 weeks, I was in response mode. The whole focus during that time for me was to present Springfield in the light that it wasn't being presented at a national level.
The national attention also attracted hate groups and threats of violence.
Authorities with the city of Springfield are responding to bomb threats.
Last fall, at least 33 bomb threats were made against city hospitals, schools, private residences, and businesses, causing multiple evacuations.
Whom or what do you hold responsible for it getting to that point?
Those that have a national spotlight, a national microphone, and choose to use words that could harm individuals, communities, those are the people that were responsible for bringing such a negative effect on our community.
President Trump has continued to paint Springfield in a negative light, calling the city destroyed in his address to Congress just last month.
The president needs to know that we are not a destroyed community. Springfield was used in a way to bring a light to a problem that I thought was a problem. I've said before, and I'll say this, immigration reform needs to happen, but things were taken out of context. People were hurt, people were emotionally damaged, community was emotionally damaged, divided.
What happened to put a target on the smallest Midwest town to be the happy recipient of a horde of migrants?
We weren't being listened to. We were force-fed. It has enough of a large town vibe.
Diana Daniels has lived in Springfield for nearly 40 years and has been a fixture at city commission meetings, railing against the issues she says are caused by the Haitian immigrants.
It has completely changed this town. I can't ride my bike anymore in town. I don't dare. I change how I drive so that I know that I would not be killed by a driver who just got their driver's license. It's harder to get into the hospital. It's harder to get into a doctor. If you need to get into jobs and family services, the line is out the door. The way things are set up is everything revolves around the Haitians.
Daniels has continued to be a presence at city commission meetings, which got especially heated during the run-up to the presidential election.
We have just brought too many daggone people to come in here and be able to apply for free stuff.
And I want to know why are these people being coddled and pampered and giving us a beautiful life, a life better than I live.
Everybody in town said, whoa, what's going on here? People spoke their mind, and I think a lot of people, the predominant voice, if you will, was one of, we don't like our neighbors.
Marion Stewart is a retired minister who lives in a neighboring city. She's a volunteer with a faith-based effort called Springfield Neighbors United. Its goal is to support the region's immigrant community and encourage new voices to speak up.
I would like to see that the same kinds of opportunities given to my family are offered to others that come here.
Sometimes the voices that come from the heart of caring and seeing our neighbors as our neighbors, that voice isn't necessarily the loudest.
I am so thankful for this room here, for the diversity in this room, for the diversity of this community.
We put our thinking caps on and came up with, we should go back to a basic core message that resonates with everyone. Love your neighbor. The commandment is love your neighbor as yourself.
A message now seen around town on billboards, T-shirts, and banners outside City Hall.
And have you seen examples of shifting, people who were originally skeptical or outright critical of these Haitian immigrants who are now coming around?
I see two things happening. One is a hardening of opinion, because that's kind of, we're bifurcated as a nation right now, and that shows up locally as well. But there are people who understand, wait a minute, they're a fabric of Springfield now. Springfield has a very diverse population. Can we celebrate that?
Springfield United, Neighbors United, that's your country club crowd. Those are the people that don't have to deal with somebody from another culture on a daily basis. Don't tell me that I have to be their neighbor. That's what these folks are doing.
There's always going to be folks that are going to be divisive. My hope is that citizens would actually take a look at what really is good and work on the bad.
What do you think it would take to bring people together?
People having conversations with individuals. I mean, everybody's responsible for their own heart.
Diana Daniel says she has had those conversations, including about the very difficult journey and sacrifices many made to get here, that softened her thinking about Haitians as individuals.
I know a lot of Haitians. I have several that live next to the store where I work. I've had plenty of conversations that I wish I'd never had, because there are things I didn't want to know, but know now, that has changed my perspective. Pivoting away from being angry about an illegal being here to realizing that there were two sets of victims. They are the victims just as well as we are.
In February, the temporary protected status that allows many of Springfield's Haitian immigrants to be in the U.S. legally was cut short by the Trump administration. If the order stays in place, come August, many of the 10,000 to 15,000 Haitian residents of the city face deportation.
We need some, common sense thinking in policy for sure, because there are manufacturers that are going to not have second and third shift employees if, let's say, we have the largest mass deportation of individuals that are just here working hard and paying taxes.
Among those impacted will be Lucans Merzis and his family.
Do you have a plan for what you will do if your status ends?
If I have to go back to my country, I go back to my country, you know. For myself, every day is a new chance and a new challenge.
Challenges ahead for him and the city he calls home. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Judy Woodruff in Springfield, Ohio.